Greetings, wanderers. Today's topic is: what is the most brainwashed cult in the world? Love has one cult. People are pretty fucking crazy. The fact that the leader was professing it was all a scam and that she needed to go to a hospital in her last moments, then the followers basically shrugged it off as her being delirious, is proof of their brainwashing. If they weren't still actively recruiting, you could almost say things worked themselves out naturally. Scientology is running on its second, third, and now fourth generation, raised exclusively within the cult itself, peoples whose entire worldview is shaped in an echo chamber where they cannot know better because they aren't given access to the information. It's wild to me that there's historical record of Hubbard writing this stuff up, editing on the fly, and openly lying about things he did, yet these people believe fully in a God he invented and the nonsense, rituals, around it. How delusional can you be? It's really quite terrifying. Scientology is pretty much guilty of everything wine moms of the 80s and 90s thought global satanic cults were doing. Scientology, hands down. Those people are drinking the Kool-Aid like it's nobody's business. Source: was a member for 3 months before escaping and burning all my Tom Cruise posters. I was in there for a week. They asked if I wanted a job and I knew nothing about them. The ideas they were pushing were contrary to what I had learnt, and they claimed the confusion I felt would be helped by hanging on to that 1940s looking electrical thing. Can't remember what it was called. Had really bad feel about it, so I stopped going. Plenty of phone calls and guilt tripping to try and get me back. Luckily I hadn't told them where I lived. Took a couple of months before they gave up. Just seen the Netflix documentary called Escaping Twin Flames. Disturbing stuff with the two leaders making a fortune by mind-fucking their following. This might be the answer, because those leaders were the least charismatic people I've heard of leading a cult. Those people must have been seriously vulnerable to ever fall into that. Any cult where the members have been convinced to kill themselves. It takes a lot of brainwashing to make people ignore their innate survival instinct. Edit: stop trying to make this a political thing. I'm specifically referring to cults where the leaders convince their followers to commit suicide in a way that has a 100% guaranteed chance of death. No, not wearing a mask isn't the same as literal suicide. No, fighting in a battle isn't suicide. I'm talking about shit like Heaven's Gate or Jonestown. One of the tricks of the cult leader trade is to find people who are halfway there already. Jehovah's Witnesses #Soranatsuri. Anyone who lets a kid die instead of getting a blood transfusion, procedure which has been around for a long time and is extremely regulated, for religious reasons, is a cult to me. I know a pediatrician who told me that when a JW kid needed surgery they would sometimes ask the DA to temporarily make the child a ward of the state. The parents would accept this because of deniability. How anyone can believe that a deity would not see through this is beyond me. BTW. Flat Earth, and they thought we are the ones that are being brainwashed, like bruh. Andrew Tate followers, the same unoriginal personality copy-pasted onto many brain-dead and self-absorbed men. Tannen. MORMONS. I had to scroll to the bottom and still didn't see this. Raised LDS, I can assure you, it's a cult. The church is a tax-exempt hedge fund that funds all kinds of political action, including Prop 8 in California. Up to 100,000 missionaries actively recruiting new members globally. The new wave of anti-LGBTQ legislation, which makes gay sex a capital punishment in several African countries, was lobbied by and funded largely by a non-profit organization, Family Watch International, which was founded and is run by Sharon Slater, a Mormon. 100% groupthink. Creepy interviews with men in suits who determine how offensive your behavior and enforce obedience through manipulation and coercion. Brainwashing from birth to endorse a cosmic worldview that is misogynistic, homophobic and transphobic, racist and super judgmental. Nice on the outside, super culty on the inside. Jim Jones's cult was the origin of the phrase, drinking the Kool-Aid, because he convinced over 900 followers to commit revolutionary suicide with cyanide-laced flavor aid. Although, as u/Shakenbake 1811 points out below, most of them, being surrounded by armed guards, had little choice. Then there's David Koresh, who somehow persuaded many followers to let him impregnate their pre-teenage daughters. To this day, some of those parents, having survived the Waco fire, say they don't regret that either. And who could forget Shoko Asahara, whose Aum Shinrikyo cultists attempted to murder all of Tokyo with homemade sarin gas? Personally, I couldn't say which of them all was the most brainwashed.